In the decade since the release of Borderlands 2, I haven't gone a month without playing it. From the ages of 17 to 20, my relaxation time, which was most of the time, was spent farming bosses while Breaking Bad or House of Cards played on my laptop. I was once seeing a beautiful goth girl who told me her parents were away for the weekend, and instead of heading over to hook up and smoke the terrible weed you got in English towns circa 2013, I stayed home to farm the new DLC's final boss for conference calls. Over 4 different systems, I have who knows how many thousands of hours on Borderlands 2. I have max leveled every character, completed every quest, defeated every raid boss. It's not a good game. There's no depth to any aspect of Borderlands 2. The character builds are extremely simple, the level design is janky and awkward, the dialogue and story are nonsensical and painfully unfunny. The gameplay, while smooth and satisfying, is ultimately a series of rooms containing gear checks. The primary selling point of the whole experience is to repeatedly kill the same bosses ad nauseum until they drop a gun with the correct colour light poking out of the middle. It's exactly the same concept as a slot machine. The game is training you to produce dopamine via visual stimuli. It's almost beautiful how free from abstraction the whole process is. When you see the right colour, you feel good. You don't play Borderlands 2, it plays you. I didn't realise all this until I played Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. The newest entry in the iconic Zelda series is brimming with charm. There's something to do in every corner of its vast 3-layer map. It feels polished and has a gorgeous art style. If you read any of the mainstream coverage of Tears of the Kingdom, you'd think it was on par with The Godfather or Moby Dick, a piece that transcends its art form. But Tears of the Kingdom is a game for children. Nintendo made all of Hyrule frictionless, like an amusement park designed so that you're never far from immediate good feelings. You go from one place to the next place and complete whatever simple puzzle or combat encounter there is there until you're done with the game. There's nothing beneath the surface of Tears of the Kingdom, just a cynical apparatus of systems and visuals designed to make you feel good. Returning to Borderlands 2, the Emperor's clothes are gone. Leveling an assassin feels pointless. Farming a new sham shield is meaningless busy work with the reward of more meaningless busy work. All I can think now is, why didn't I notice this before? Looking at the most popular games of the last decade, audiences' preferences are clear. We want the same game as last time, but make it smoother, sand off the edges, give us our rewards sooner. Don't make us think any more than is absolutely necessary. That's just how video games are made now. In film industry, this pattern repeats. Every successful film is either a sequel or adaptation or attempt to birth a franchise that can gather a fandom. The media becomes a lifestyle, something to form a community around. We don't have taste anymore, we have adopted internet families. Places to belong built around films, games, and television from our childhood. Video games never matured, media just regressed. And these problems don't just stop with entertainment. Millennials and Gen Z are by all accounts more depressed, anxious, and struggling harder to engage with the economy than any generation before us. We're reporting higher rates of loneliness than ever before, less satisfaction with our lives. The number of us having sex and dating are plummeting, either unable to navigate sexual relationships or simply not in situations to meet people we're romantically interested in. When you look at the conditions current generations grow up under, it's not hard to come up with theories as for why this is happening. We're poorer than previous generations, making access to common spaces or ownership of our own space to facilitate socializing harder, in addition to there being less feeling of reward for engaging with work or career. Opportunities to avoid interacting with others are abundant, now that everyone has instantaneous access to endless stimulation. Not to mention the drastic change in parenting approach the baby boomer generation conducted, themselves spoiled by the greatest period of economic prosperity in human history and whipped into paranoia by a media who realised selling parents concern and tragedy was more profitable than selling them any reflection of the real world, leading them to cut us off from things like unsupervised free play and thus chances to learn emotional regulation, social skills, or how to cope with rejection and failure. It's a comforting thought, isn't it? That I've played the same mind-numbing game since I was 17 because of society. I'm incapable of meeting deadlines because of smartphones. When I was 22 and I cheated on my girlfriend, it was because of socio-political conditions. That was why I never considered how she felt, or what betraying her trust meant. It's not my fault I never grew up. Even movements that push an alternative to endless childhood fall in the same immaturity black hole. Traditional masculinity imagined by a 13-year-old boy, focusing on Bugattis, zero-sum romantic relationships, get-rich-quick schemes, and archaic views on women and sexual minorities, incapable of existing without an imagined opposition to push against. Our only examples of growth being to fertilize with poison. Maybe that's the real problem. Not that we're the first generation to never grow up, just the first generation unlucky enough to be made to realize it. I don't know how to end this video. It can't be the case that maturity means shitting on things that bring people joy, that growing up means snootily dismissing well-made but simple media. I also can't in good conscience tell you to just sink into a miasma of easy-to-consume, regressive content. It would be immature to assume I have anything figured out. I don't have any answers for you. I can't give you the comfort of a satisfying conclusion. I'm sorry. We all have to figure it out ourselves.